Welcome, people. This is actually part two. Part one, I was just rambling on about the police state, like in an intellectual way, not ranting and being a lunatic about it. Because I'll cut to the chase here. Now that is part two, and I'm finished being interrupted. We are always in a constant police state because that's the essence of the state itself. There are always going to be restrictions and a law enforcement around the corner, and that's the essence of civilization. So it's like people do things to push the state, almost like a child will do, to test the bounds that the parent is setting for it. I don't mean to belittle anybody, but if there is a higher cause, then that's something different, because in that manner society gets to evolve a little bit whenever it's necessary. So you can kind of tell whenever it's successful, it was meant to be. And whenever it's not successful and someone gets disappointed or a movement gets disappointed, then it just has to try and keep trying until it succeeds and pushes through with some kind of reform. So police state is there as a necessary evil, and it continues to march on. Now, why do we have this thing, as happened with the Boston Marathon this year, 6 days ago? Why do we have things now that seem like false flags or retaliations from homegrown terrorism or whatever you want to call it? Just people that are seeking like vigilante justice because nobody trusts the government anymore. Why do we see these things going on? Well, there's several reasons. Because we choose to put a hard focus on it. We magnify it. And that's because of vloggers needing something to talk about. I just incriminated myself. So the media does it because they'll be out of a job if there's nothing leading. If it bleeds, it leads. So you've got to have a leading story. Otherwise, those companies will fold. Look at the newspaper companies, and a lot of those are dying extinct dinosaurs, and pretty soon other things will, because technology always keeps changing, at least as far as we've seen. But having said that, we do see occasionally there are abuses, and I'm saying that no matter what you believe about the Boston Marathon, whether you just take everything that TV puts out and just believe it hook, line, and sinker, that's fine. Or whether you are skeptical about everything, that's fine too. Question authority. But no matter what is the case, you still have to admit that everybody's focusing on it. Everybody has a different take on it, and everybody's talking about it. So therefore, we are feeding it by paying attention to it, and therefore, it's meant to be. It has to happen. Because look, you talk about the loss of life. Yes, that's true, and I didn't see anyone really do too much talking about victims or those injured, and I don't know if that's just for privacy concerns, but usually we forget about that. Everybody focuses on the serial killer, and with a fine-tooth comb, but nobody knows any details about the victims, hardly at all. So we like to look with a microscope into the depths of evil. And this whole case, even though there's loss of life, there's gain of payroll. Everybody that was working that day And from what I could see, it's like 1 out of 10 people that were milling around are in some form of security or organization of the event, connected with the government or bureaucracy of that area, which is Boston, Massachusetts. And they all got paid that day. So why don't you all tell us what your salaries are, what your hourly wage, or you get a lump sum? And then we'll add all that up, and we'll see that, now that the event came out of it, there's overtime and there's this and that, and everybody's still pumped up on the adrenaline and getting talked about, and standing their ground, being debated from whatever stance you take. I don't take any stance like that, see? That's why I ask you to come to me, and I'll give you a different perspective on the whole thing. I'm not saying that you can stop these things. I'm not saying that you really want to. When psychologically you analyze it, people want their salary. They want to be on the emergency crew, or they wouldn't spend years and years in college and then get a job and keep the hours and keep that schedule. You don't want to give up your overtime. You don't want to give up being part of that system that you belong to. And this is probably still the majority. It's not a vast majority, but it's probably like 30 to 40% of everybody that is pro the system or connected with the system, and then you'll have about like maybe 25% of people that are against it, and then you'll have all kinds of people that are indifferent, don't know what's going on, they have mental problems of forming opinions, or whatever the case may be. But the majority still, I think, is just people that are connected with it. That's why the American system, which is empire, if you want to call it that, or the number one superpower, is basically an empire. Chris Hedges talks about that too. But it's still floating. It might be sinking and declining, but it's still floating. It's been floating since I've been looking at it. It's been floating all these decades. Even though there are flaws. So you choose to focus on the flaws. Oh, the police state, I can't do it. Well, you know what? I wasn't at the Boston Marathon. No, I wasn't at a lot of these places. But wherever I go, nothing really happens. I encounter a lot of cops. I wouldn't say more than average, but like if I travel or if I'm in a city, I do encounter cops. And I notice it. I encounter civilians too, and I notice them. I'm a people watcher. But when it comes to cops, there's just a way that you have to handle interaction with people that are on the clock. They punched in and they've got a job to do. And I let them know that. I know you're doing your job. Okay. Well, good. So, you don't need to make any extra point with me. You wait until you get that if you really need that, but you're not going to get that extra pleasure out of me. Because when it comes down to it, see, I know that I'm at least equal or above any one of them. You take away the badge, you take away the uniform, you take away the weapons. It's just me and them in a room. Sorry. I'll stand up to my ground, and that's it. Because I'm an individual who understands. I don't go out looking for trouble for any reason. I don't look for instantaneous change. It's not that easy. I don't have like a complaint that suddenly can be solved like this by going out there and throwing myself onto the jackboot. But listen, this is not even about that. I was going to do a random video because I just love expressing my thoughts to everybody out here. And I miss people when they don't come back and comment to me like after a month or two. I'm like, what the blazes happened to them? But and it's the thing with family too. You know, I've got a virtual family here in Utopia, and I have my real family, and you know, family is that human thing that keeps ties together. And again, you know, the state is supposed to protect that. It's usually a common value of all these systems across the world and across history. But in any case, see, my next subject is going to be about doing videos and getting more professional. So I was looking at all the blogs that YouTube does, and then I was like, what is my subject matter? You know, if I'm going to double or triple or 10 times more my amount of views, what's my subject matter going to be? So I've got these long lists, you know, that I've made. I've got a whole science series, and I'll just rattle off to you. These are all the topics. The tentative title is Science with a Scoop of Spirituality. So I know it sounds stupid, but hey, there's a start for everything. It might catch on. So the first subject is time, travel, no. Space, travel, yes. Speed of light, light itself, electromagnetic energy. Gravity, atoms, planets, universe, cosmos, life, intelligence, God. Infinity, eternity. Darkness, the void, nothingness, the Big Bang. Expansion and contraction principles, yin-yang. So, you know, a lot of times I'll take something from physics and then I'll segue into metaphysics or paraphysics, however you want to slice it. The reason why I'm doing this is because I think science really has to progress into this open-mindedness, like what I have. So I'm going to encourage that, you know, come more to that state of mind that I have been able to use, and I want to inspire. Because everybody likes to learn, you know, everyone likes to be smart. I mean, I think it's my strong suit, talking about my landmark education. You know, you ever hear about that, landmark? They do workshops and stuff. So listen, from the YouTube blog, I found out that they have a new studio that they just launched, and the flagship of it is in LA. So that's the main one. And I saw their promo video, which was kind of I don't know, showy, but it really didn't tell me that much. You know, I could get a sense of the place. So I think that was all they really wanted us to do. So it looks like a great facility. And then they have one in London and Tokyo. So I don't know too much about those, but I'm assuming that they are similar. So in order to get in there, all you have to do is be a partner in good standing. So I'm probably going to have to work on that, because I have one outstanding thing. I'm not going to get into it right now. I might do another video on it. So, you know, I've got a long history on here. Maybe too long. But I'm not about to give up. So look at all these other criteria that they have for getting into the YouTube Creator Studio. Is that you have to have over 10,000 subscribers. Now, on my combined channels, I do, but look, on Mr.ey, which is the main one, I don't have that yet. I've just broken 5,000 after they did the cutback and they did the culling. You know, I was down to 4,000, and I just now regained new subscribers, over 5,000, but I've got a long way to go. So if you can help me out, do whatever you can. Because I need that 10,000, or else I can't get to use the LA studio. And it's become a big deal to me to do this, because I wouldn't even be professional enough if I can't get into my own corporation headquarters. Let's say that this is where it's at. So I want that. I'm going to set a goal for myself, and we'll see what happens. There's other criteria. Another one's on viewing, so I got to get my viewing up. Maybe I'll just start doing a lot of 3-minute videos. Throw out like 5 of them every day. 5 minutes of 3-minute videos is 15 minutes every day. After like a month, I might get like up to the views. I need 100,000 views every month. I don't know if I have that yet. I'm not sure. I might actually have that on my combined videos. Wow. So anyhow, thanks for listening. I'm going to do more videos about each. I talked about 3 or 4 things here, and I'm trying to change my personality too. I'm gonna get a makeover as well, so you're gonna see like visibly a lot of changes, and you're probably gonna feel it too, because I'm gonna be more of a nice guy and not an internet tough guy anymore, because I'm such a bully. But I'm gonna probably do my softer feminine side, like I don't know. It's not just feminine. I mean, I have to do things to really practice what I preach. Let's say I know that I've got to do that better. So having said that, I'm done with the video. Thanks for listening. I'd love to hear your comments and all this stuff. And have a good one. Have a good one, whatever time it is, whatever day, whatever you're watching this.